Hi there. Hello, everybody. Jason from Clive's Conundrum Garden said I should make a video on how I make my, turn this off, how I make my potty mix. And what it is 40% aged compost, 40% leaf mold, and 20% worm castings. And right here I'm just going to show you, this is an 1/8 inch screen I use for my worm castings. When I bring them in, I screen them with a 1/4 inch screen, and then to get some of the larger seeds out, because I feed them a lot of squash and cucumbers and things like that, I found that using a 1/4 inch screen is better to get some of them bigger seeds out. So I'm just going to sift in this stuff here. And I already get a bunch of it, so then I keep a little bin here for the worms that I find. Like here's one here, little guy. And I just move through this quickly. Steve from Steve in the Garden, here's another one. He makes a much better sifter than what I have here, but this works for my purposes. Alright, and then this material left over, I keep that in a separate bin over here, which I'll show you later. And because this is good, this coarse material, you could put it right back in the worm bin, or you could, what I do with it is I use it for filling up grow bags at the bottom. You can use it as mulch, and you can also use it to start, you can put it right back in the worm bin, or you can use it to start put in compost too. It's got a lot of good biology. So here's the finished worm castings. These are all done. So now to the let's see, these are really nice. There's little particles. I use natural bedding, leaves, and compost for my worms. I don't use paper, although I have an experiment going right now where I'm going to compare the two. But yeah, this is really good stuff here. Now, I'll do is, see, you got these little wormies done. You wouldn't believe how many worms are in here. A lot. So, just switch this over here. And I've made a lot of potty mix already. And I'll show you that later as well. But anyhow, so I already pre-sifted some, this is compost. Now this is aged compost. This is not something that I just made yesterday. And that's very important when you go to make a potty mix. And I'll tell you why once I find my scooper. Ah, there it is. Yeah, the thing about compost, if it's not finished, and okay, I go 4 scoops of the compost. Thereabouts. Alright, there's 4 scoops of the compost. And here's my leaf mold I sifted earlier. 4 scoops of this stuff. Now, it's not exact science, but you know, the ratios are, you know, comparative, you know. And that's the leaf mold. And then a couple good scoops of the worm castings here. Now, what I was saying, then I mix this all together. What I was saying about the aged compost is that if it's not aged, this compost that I'm using today, I kind of looked it up a little bit, what I was using, I mean what my compost was last year, and this stuff was finished in July last year, because the last two batches I made, I put biochar in there for outside. So this stuff is 9 months old. It's aged, and the reason you want it aged is because even though it was a hot compost, you don't want to have a carbon nitrogen problem when you're making seedling or planting small plants in here. You don't want any competition for the nitrogen, and there's something called allelopathy, where plants will give off a natural chemical that will prevent other plants from growing or to retard the growth of another plant, you know, for survival. All right. So once this is all mixed together pretty good, and because this is so dense, if you just use this alone, it'll be fine, but it's really hard to get the plants out of the pots, I found. So what I do, and I'm still looking for an alternative to this, but a big bag of perlite here. I just put a good scoop of this in here. And what this does is it gives it some aeration. It just makes it easier for the plant roots to get around, and it's not compacted. It doesn't get compacted. And I just kind of eyeball it. I don't know. I suppose there's a more precise ways of doing it, but that is my finished potting mix with the leaf mold and the compost and the worm casting. And I've had really good results with it. But the thing is, you don't want to use fresh compost. You might get terrible results. The leaf mold has to be at least a year old. You want it really broken down well. I'll just show you here quick. This leaf mold here